Updates now from around the league, and we'll start with Cam Newton, who was injured over the weekend. But the good news, if this is any indication, he does not seem all that concerned as he arrived at Panthers practice today. He did suffer a sprained foot in the Panthers preseason game against the Patriots over the weekend. He was walking at practice yesterday without a walking boot. That's good news, but he did spend practice working with the team's trainers. Here's Ron Rivera with an update.
It was him going through his warm-ups, his pre-practice warm-ups he typically does, and then he went through his throws. He threw the ball pretty well. I didn't get the number how many throws he made, but he threw the ball and threw it pretty well today. So we're pretty excited. He didn't really drop back or anything like that. Just so you guys know.
Still on progress is the schedule you guys
feel very good about it, and we'll see how he feels tomorrow morning, and hopefully he feels fine so we can go out and throw some more.
Well, David Newton joins us now from Charlotte. David was at practice, and what more can you tell us about Cam and what he was or was not able to do this afternoon?
Well, first, Wendy, there's no indication he's going to pull Andrew Luck and announce a retirement anytime soon. Cam wants to play. We didn't get to see a lot of what he did. Most of what I saw is him working with the trainer, doing some motion things, working on his shoulder, because that was the big concern coming into this preseason was the shoulder that had surgery during the offseason. But all seems to be really well with that, so they're really anticipating he can play. All signs have been good for him so far. I asked Torrey Smith, his wide receiver, I said, what's it like having a little bit of uncertainty at your quarterback position less than 2 weeks before the opener? And he said there is no uncertainty. He expects Cam to play. Everybody does, but I will go back to 2014 where Cam Newton in the third preseason game against New England suffered a fractured rib, and all the indications were coming into this time at that point was that he would play in the opener against Tampa Bay, and then he didn't. They felt it was best long-term. So they're going to do what's best long-term for Cam and his foot, but all indications are right now that he will be the starter on opening day against the Rams. Of course he will.
David, thank you. What's interesting here is that on Thursday we spoke and I asked the panel what would constitute a successful night for Cam Newton. To a person, they said, get out healthy. And of course, then you see this and you know, it's sort of that age-old, oh, here we go again in the preseason. Do we have that conversation, Key, again about the viability and the necessity of the preseason where more and more it's just about getting out and getting healthy for the start of the regular season?
I wouldn't play my frontline guys in the preseason at all. Sean McVay showed you that, went ahead and went to the Super Bowl. And as you continue to see, there's an old school mentality where you got Bill Belichick, of course. He's going to play guys. You have certain people that is going to play their players, but for the most part, I wouldn't play my guys in the preseason because the preseason really is about guys that are coming into the league, second-year guys, third-year guys that are trying to make the roster. When you got superstars, there's no need for the superstars to play at all. I understand the tickets, people buy them, they want to see them play. You go through it similar in the NBA where guys are sitting when fans are paying their money. But a guy like Cam Newton is the most important person on your team. You don't take a chance. You already know what he can do as a quarterback. He doesn't need to see reps against the New England Patriots to win a roster spot for you. He's part of the fit. In fact, he's the #1 guy on the 53-man roster.
I think there's sort of two conversations surrounding the preseason that have been molded into one, really this preseason. One is, should players of frontline status play at all? And that's sort of been gelled with, is 4 games too long in the preseason? Because I'm with Key in that, you know, most coaches will continue to gravitate towards, let's call it the Sean McVay model of just, you know, see you September 1st or so whatever the first week of the regular season is. But there is still value to the preseason. You are seeing players across rosters in the NFL that probably are somewhere between, you know, 45 and 90 on the roster that are competing for not just the final 8 53-man roster spots, but for the 10 practice squad spots too. Those are important. So for these teams with frontline players, I bet in years going forward, we'll barely see starting quarterbacks at all prior to Labor Day.
See, I'm a little different. I think guys need to play. If we look at this clip where Cam Newton
That's because you play linebacker.
Hey,
though,
man.
Hey,
look, I'm a safety, man. The linebacker add weight. But as far as the clip we watched, he was evading the rush. Well, in practice and in-game or in inter-squad scrimmages, he's not doing that. They're moving out of the way. They're creating lanes for him to throw. They're running past the quarterback, not touching him. He's a big body. So he sprained that foot because he hasn't been used to cutting that way in practice. So I believe he's going to be fine with sprained foot. Obviously, I'm not on the training staff, but guys got to play to get the rust off.
Well, and then there's also a whole nother argument about superstar players. Tom Brady, I think, is an example, who want to play a certain amount, who say to their coach, I need this for me. This is how I get ready. This is my process. And then you got a coach who needs to make a decision. You know, where do I?
You're a competitor.
Where do I draw the
play.
line? Yeah, of course. I mean, it makes it. And you want a player who wants to play. Let's be clear.